Welcome in to Blue Jays Today, folks. Today we got to talk about that past series. Another series win for your Toronto Blue Jays. They're looking good, folks. This is the spot where we want it to be, an unexpected spot to be sitting in, only a couple weeks away from the All-Star break, which, by the way, if you haven't already done so, go vote Vlad, go vote Kirk. I mean, Kirk, because he's not going to win his spot, but he does deserve to go regardless. And Vladdy, you could certainly make a strong argument that he has been the best first baseman in the American League this year.
Those open up on June 30th, so it's June 30th to July 2nd, so just start pumping the votes every day.
I have a good feeling that they'll do okay, but, everybody's got to go and do their part. So we're going to talk about that, as well as speaking about Vladimir Guerrero Jr., the kind of mild drama that was happening in yesterday's game. There was a moment in time where things were very close to boiling over. Maybe there's going to be a little benches clearing brawl. Our thoughts there. Then Jeff Passan, he released his big-time 50 MLB trade candidates, basically everybody under the sun that has a chance of getting moved, and Toronto has been linked to a lot of them, which we'll talk about that, and then the upcoming series. And, of course, if you have any questions for us, now is the time to hit that link in the description. Send them to our mailbag, because we'll be answering anywhere from 3 to 5 of them at the end of this show. Toronto Blue Jays, 43-37?
That's
43 and 37. Hell fucking yeah, dude.
6 games above 500, everybody. We're 3 games behind the Yankees. They have been, so bad. You're seeing what happens right now when you have no Aaron Judge, and then you lose Paul Goldschmidt. He's still in the lineup. You lose his bat. And then, look, they can't score for shiz, right? And then, the pitching's great, but the bullpen, starting pitching's great. Bullpen, not great. So they're going through a lot of troubles. 2 of the 3 things are not computing right now for them. Now we have to capitalize. It's just unfortunate that the Rays are also computing at, full capacity right now.
Well, let me ask you, is this the true New York Yankees, or was the first half New York Yankees the true New York Yankees?
Well, I think the New York Yankees in the first half, they were computing, like I've been saying, using that example, on all 3 cylinders. Their bullpen was great, other than Devin Williams. We can all agree on that. Their pitching staff's always been great all season long. Max Fried's an absolute beast. And then, they had everybody doing well. You had guys like Trent Grisham popping off with an 800 OPS. This guy's never had an 800 OPS. And then you had guys like Bellinger and Goldschmidt, who are in their 30s, and they're getting hot. And now they're starting to cool off because you're seeing the age come around. So I think you saw what could be an upside of them when everything's working well, which is why they were one of the best teams in baseball. But now you're starting to see the other side of the shoe. So I think it's a combination of both, I guess.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I personally didn't think that they were that good off the top. I don't think I don't think that that's what their actual identity is. I'm not sure if this is necessarily truly indicative as to who they are either, because this is pretty bad. And even Aaron Judge isn't performing at the levels that he is known to perform at either. So I do think that they were a little bit better than this, but I also believe that for them, the other shoe was bound to drop eventually. It is dropping right now, and the Toronto Blue Jays, they have got to capitalize. They play the Boston Red Sox upcoming tonight. We will be live for that game and this weekend, and then Canada Day. That series against the New York Yankees, man, I've had that thing circled for a while. 4 games against New York. You win that series, man. It's not unthinkable if you win the series against Boston and then win 3 out of 4 against the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
Obviously, depending on what the Yankees do this weekend, but it's not unthinkable to see us in a position where we're tied for leading the division at that point.
Or maybe we're tied for second with the Yankees, and the Rays just, jump over all of us. And that's what will probably happen, because it's the frickin' Rays. But yeah, you're right. We have an opportunity here to take matters in our own hands. With Canada Day coming up, we're at home, 4 games. It's time to pounce right before the trade deadline and make ourselves legitimate contenders. We've got a dono in here.
Quick shout out to Yeti with the $9.99 dono, saying, "Hey guys, haven't been on the stream for a few days, been busy at work. After Max came back, I feel more confident about the boys making it to the playoffs. Thank you for all the information every day." Well, we appreciate you. Thank you very much for the donation, dude. The Max Scherzer start. Let's talk about that a little bit, okay? What was it? It was 5 innings.
5 innings, 3
earned runs. 4 strikeouts. It obviously wasn't peak Max Scherzer, and, watching back some of the stuff, it's there were definitely some mistakes from him. However, all things considered, it wasn't so bad that we're going to throw this out and never think about it again. I think that it was a good first step and something to build off of him, or something to build off of moving forward for him.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, exactly. I think he can get better from here, and the fact that his thumb feels even better than it did when he was rehabbing after his start, because that's always been the key. How do you feel the next day? And he's never felt better, so that's obviously key. But also, I just ask myself this. Would I rather have a 5 innings of 3 earned run ball from, it doesn't matter who it is, Max Scherzer, it could be Joe Blow, or a 1 1/3 6 earned run game from Spencer Turnbull? It's like that swing right there is like that's a game from Spencer Turnbull you don't have a chance, and you lost against the White Sox doing that. Whereas this Max Scherzer game, yeah, you lost, but you lost by 1 run because you got a chance.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly. Like it wasn't a perfect outing by any stretch of the imagination, but it also wasn't so bad that it just completely buried you. If the offense would have really come to life that day, which we've seen them do in recent times, like they could have gone on to win that game. They could have even swept the Cleveland Guardians.
And they lost 5-4. You know what I mean? And it was like, okay, like we're not like, we didn't have a terrible day offensively. I mean, we had a great hit by George Springer in that series where, I mean, George Springer popped off this series, but that specifically in that game, the 2-run single to tie it, right? And it's like, okay, now Max Scherzer, and at one point when Kirky came home on the sac fly, Max Scherzer had a chance to win the game. So it was the bullpen that kind of fell off. And I mean, we've talked about that.
Well, speaking of people that had a kick-ass series, you actually picked some for worst J, idiot. Kevin Gausman absolutely dominated. I picked Max Scherzer, so I will be winning that category. Undoubtedly.
I had to pick somebody, right? There's no Bowden Francis anymore.
No Bowden Francis anymore, man. But Kevin Gausman, we were a little bit concerned. In the previous Blue Jays Today show, we were talking about what was going right, what was going wrong for him. And I mean, John Schneider brought up the fact that he just kept getting behind in counts. He was never getting ahead against these hitters. And when that happens, Kevin Gausman, his stuff, it's not as good as it used to be, and it's not good enough to work yourself back into that thing and then, eventually get the out, because he relies on being ahead, then throwing that splitter and catching people off guard. He did that yesterday against the Cleveland Guardians. 8 fucking innings, dude. Scoreless ball. It was probably the right decision to take him out and put Green in, but it would have been nice. Like, he could have had the opportunity to get a complete game shutty yesterday. That's how good he was pitching. 104 pitches for the guy. This was the type of outing that really I needed to see to reinstill me with the confidence of like, okay, he does have it. He still has that potential of being an ace. Just got to get ahead in the count, dude.
Yeah, I mean, when John Schneider came out with that quote of like, oh, well, Gausman has elite stuff. He's got to throw a strike 1. And I'm like, well, yeah, duh. I mean, that's like the key for every pitcher, but especially with Gausman, because when you're working off the fastball, when you got that splitter, if you're behind the count, well, as a batter, I got a pretty good idea what's coming next. If you just threw 2 splitters and they missed down low, I'm hunting a fastball. Like, it's that simple, right? And especially for missing arm side with your fastball, well, what's the next pitch you're going to go to? The splitter or some sort of off speed, like the slider that's been getting beat around a lot. Like, so if you get ahead, you have so many more avenues to play with. Like, I love, and we saw this yesterday, I always say this. I know when Kevin Gausman's on is when he can get batters looking strike 3 at fastball down at the knees. Every single time. Because at this point in the bat, you've either established a splitter down low, and now you got them thinking, okay, anything low is going to be dropping down low, and I've been chasing at it. Or I'm thinking he's going to fool me upstairs high. So if I see low, I'm just going to not swing. But that's when Kevin Gausman can pull out the bag of tricks and get you looking right there.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, I know that Cleveland's offense isn't, the greatest in MLB by any stretch of the imagination, but I feel like this series, a big takeaway for me was that, some of the starters that we were a little concerned about, Scherzer was one of them, Kevin Gausman was certainly one of them, they do still have the potential to be very, very good at baseball. And speaking of somebody who's really damn good at baseball, we started off that series with Eric Lauer, and I just finished recording a short on Eric Lauer. I'll post that on our Instagram after this show and everything. But did you know that his fastball has a batting average against of 133?
I didn't know the exact number, but I knew it was like a stupid good pitch. It's the best pitch on the Toronto Blue Jays staff.
Like that. That's insane.
And what is the fastball, like 92?
It's not exactly, and I was going through because, we make these, these shorts on Instagram, and we get clips that, we put behind us, whatever the guy's doing. And so he's throwing his fastball, and you literally heard the announcers being like, yeah, like it's only like 93 miles per hour. I guess they're just not seeing it. And then, Lauer pitches, and it's like, like right there, you know. It's just so deceptive of a fastball, and nobody's being able to pick it up. But the fact that your fastball, which is typically one of the pitches that people will sit on and wait to get hits off of, is that good, literally better than Skubal's and Paul Skeens in terms of batting average against. I mean, that is fucking awesome.
I mean, that
dude.
comes down to like this deception in your delivery. If you
That's what it's got to be.
You can hide the fastball as long as possible until it kind of sneaks up on you. That's what Bowden Francis' fastball was doing last year, but except this year it wasn't. But last year it was sneaking up on a lot of batters because Bowden only throws 92, 93, 94, and Lauer even worse. So, yeah, I mean, shout out to Eric Lauer. He's going to be pitching in this series. And honestly, it's so funny. Whenever I see Eric Lauer slated in to, like, play or to pitch, I get so overjoyed knowing that we have a great chance to win in that game.
Well, I mean, I was saying it when I recorded that little video, but he's the best starter on the team right now.
100%.
He is the best starter on the team. If I could have him out there, like, every day, I would.
All right. So let me play a little game here. Playoffs start tomorrow. You got a 3-game series. Who are you rolling out there?
Well, Eric Lauer's obviously there.
Yeah,
I don't like.
How do you not, right?
If it's a 3-game series, I don't necessarily know if he's like my number 1 guy.
Right.
But he's definitely going in the first 2 games because I need to guarantee that Lauer will touch the mound at some point. So maybe he's game 1, but he's at least game 2. And then after that, I actually don't give a shit.
Dude,
like,
it's actually a tough puzzle.
I would probably go Jose Brios.
Yeah.
I'd probably go Jose Brios game 1, Eric Lauer game 2, and then maybe Kevin Gausman game 3. Because I just feel like then you're kind of, when you factor in like the story that you're telling, it's like they're all different. You know what I mean? And you got a lefty in there, and I think that's probably how I do things. But I don't know.
And then maybe you like keep Chris Bassett in the pen for the Eric Lauer game just in case, right. Okay, here comes Eric Lauer's true colors, and here we go. I don't know. You guys let us know in the chat. It's an interesting thought because I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Now that we are like potentially having the opportunity to make playoffs, I'm thinking, who the hell is our 1, 2, 3?
Well, Lauer's there, man. I would be thoroughly shocked if John Schneider didn't do that. Honestly,
right.
Like there just comes a time where we're looking numbers on a page here. I know that like Gausman's been the guy forever, and Bassett's been here for a long time. It's super big veteran and whatever.
Right.
But this guy's got an entire 1.5 earned runs, or averages 1.5 earned runs less than any of those other guys.
Yeah.
So what are we doing?
Well, fun experiment. If it comes September and he's still like doing this, maybe obviously he'll have a couple games where he plays bad. Maybe he's got like a 2.90 ERA, and we're like, how the is this happening? How could you?
That's
not?
the thing, right? It's just like
not?
at some point you just got to look at the numbers and go, okay, well, this guy is clearly him, and so far that has been the case. So credit where credit is due to all of the pitchers in this series against Cleveland. Everybody showed their everybody had their moments. They showed their promise. That was one of my big takeaways I was very happy about.
Yeah, I agree. And also, Jockey Boy saying, why no love for Bassett? I mean, dude, you could throw Bassett in there, too. Like you could throw Bassett. Any one of these guys could start an effing game. Like, that's what we're trying to say here. But
Eric Lauer would be locked in for me.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually my one lock.
You have to, right? All right, let's transition a little bit to the title of this video for why you guys are coming in here, which is the Blue Jays are not happy about this, which was getting hit, having your star player get hit by a pitch 2 nights in a row. Or I guess 1 night and 1 day game. But if you missed it, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. got hit with a pitch yesterday on the arm for the 2nd time in that Cleveland series. And my goodness, was he ever angry. Like, I've actually never seen Vladdy get this upset. Like, look at this right here. He reacts, and then he just, boom, bat flips, looks at him, stares him down. Like,
and it's tough to see the facial expression there, but you can tell by the eyes. You can tell by the way that he was looking at the pitcher. He was obviously very pissed off, and you're right. Like, you don't necessarily see Vladdy get upset like that. So, obviously, the narrative and the discourse has been, going around MLB, because the Toronto Blue Jays, they reacted by hitting Jose Ramirez on a first pitch fastball. And the whole discourse is, well, should they have not done that? Gausman was the one that threw the pitch, ended up hitting Ramirez, ended up getting him in the arm, actually, which then inevitably led to him leaving the game, which the Cleveland manager was not happy about at all.
No.
Thoughts on all of that?
Well, like what Stephen Vogt came out and said, and actually, I got to tip my cap to Stephen Vogt, like, acknowledging that, yeah, we knew this was coming. Like, paraphrasing what he's saying right here. We knew they were going to hit Jose. We knew it was coming. That's not the part that he is upset, which is part of the game. But all he was saying, he actually walked over in between innings to John Schneider and said, hit him in the hip. And I got, okay, sure, but you also plunked our dude in the upper body and in the arm twice. But also, Jose Ramirez, yeah, like, they're going for the rib cage, as you could see, but he moves his arm in the way. Like, buddy, if you don't want to get hit in the arm, then don't do it. Obviously, rib cage is also a dangerous place, so you could break a rib and puncture something there. But, yeah, do I think that's dirty? No, it's part of the game. Look, Gausman is just working on his command right here. Do you think he's practicing hitting somebody in the hip? That you're getting hit anyway, buddy. Like, just be thankful it's not in the head. That's what I gotta say.
Yeah, like, as far as I'm concerned, I've always been the type of individual that I don't really like the idea of hitting batters just as a retaliatory method, because I do think that it is dangerous, and genuinely it's like, yeah, like, it's all bad. I think it's all bad. However, I do think if the MLB actively wants to stop that from happening, then they need to implement some type of, method in their own regard where, like, hey, like, if you hit this guy, on the opposing team, like, multiple times in a series, or if this pitcher has hit a couple batters or whatever, they're out of the game. Or, like, there's some type of punishment involved, because there's too many times where, people just get it. We hit this guy, no big deal. Even if it was an accident or not, like, I don't care. Like, you're throwing this hard-ass baseball 90 miles plus, per hour. If you hit somebody with it, there should be some type of, other thing that happens, some type of punishment. And because there is nothing like that, it then requires the opposing team to have a response and be like, hey, we're not going to stand up for that, which is obviously what the Toronto Blue Jays did. So I don't love the idea of, like, them necessarily doing that or other teams necessarily doing that, but I also think that the rules that are currently implemented kind of lead that to happening.
Well, SP right here is saying hit batter, you get 2 bases. And you know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, then if you hit my batter, I feel more rewarded, I guess. And also, I wouldn't be so reluctant. I wouldn't be so, responsive and being like, hey, I'm going to hit you now because I'm going to give up a guy in scoring position.
I kind of like the idea of, like, 2 bases instead of 1, because 1 base is, like, you can get around it, and it's, it doesn't feel...
Did. Yeah.
Exactly, Gausman got around it, and, 1 base doesn't feel like that big of an issue. But if it's 2 bases, then for starters, if you are a manager, if you're a GM, anything like that, and you know that pitcher has a history of, like, hitting other batters, he's not on the team. Because that will immediately snowball into, well, we lose the game because you hit that guy and then he came in, and then you hit another guy later in the game and then that guy came in. That's just, you can't do that. So it would cause, or it would start to cause pitchers to, like, learn to pitch better and learn to pitch differently. And then also, too, if you're going to retaliate, you would really think, is this worth it right now? Because the likelihood of then him coming around to score is a lot higher.
Now, I know pitchers are very upset with the game and how they always benefit the batters. That would be obviously another thing to benefit the batters, because now as a pitcher, I can't pitch inside, like, barely. Like, if I'm going to pitch inside, I'm going to be really fine with it and leak it over the plate, which will inevitably create more offense. So, like, it would actually affect the game a lot, but I guess, look, it's 2025. You got to hope you have some better pitchers out there. But
and I go back to, like, Tom Brady talked about this in football, and, he's talking about how it's like there's all these concussions in football all the time. And he wasn't blaming the defenders or anything like that. He was blaming the bad quarterbacks. He's like, we have all these shitty quarterbacks out here who are throwing bad balls, and they're leading their guys into defenders who are then going to get cranked. So it's like, if we just get better football players, or in this case, if we get better baseball players out there, then this won't happen.
Yeah, that's true. Also, just to kind of round it out, going back to the beginning, like, whether I like it or not, like, I'm with you. Like, I don't necessarily like people getting hit, but I like the idea of the Blue Jays having some fire. That showed me, like, oh, we are a team. Because there's moments like that in baseball. It's bigger than the game, where it's like Gausman took one for the team. He was having a phenomenal outing, and he's like, I'm going to hit this guy, their best player, because they've hit my guy twice. And he was very upset about it. He got removed from the game. We have to do something as a team to show that, like, you can't stand for this. And also, shout out to Chris Black, who posted this out on Twitter. Like, Vlad is getting pitched inside all season long, and he's getting hit quite a bit, and no one's done anything about it. That's a little statement right
Yeah,
there.
exactly. Like, I don't mind the statement to the rest of baseball, right? Because that's kind of what that was at that point. It's like, all right, enough of this. If you go and you hit our guy, you know, or to any team, you do that, your guy is going to get plunked next time. We're not going to sit back and take this. So, again, in that regard, I like what Kevin Gausman did. I like that he was that veteran presence and said, hey, fuck you guys. Like, no, you want to hit our best guy, we're going to hit your best guy. It does suck, though, that Jose Ramirez had to leave the game. I feel bad in that regard. But Vladdy also had to leave the game, which apparently he should be fine about.
Actually, we do have an update. Shout out to our guy, Mitch Bannon. He's from The Athletic. Super cool dude. He said, he was removed from the game with a right forearm contusion. X-rays, they did come back negative. So hopefully tonight, we should get about a lineup in about a few hours. Hopefully he's in the lineup and it's all good because we're going to desperately need him. But before we move on and talk about all that, guys, let's give a quick shout out to the new sponsor of the Blue Jays Today Show, everybody, Budweiser. I know some of you were just talking about it right there in the chat. Be like, ooh, Budweiser? Yeah, Budweiser, guys. Man, it's the official partner of the Toronto Blue Jays. Baseball is better with your buds, guys. You can get limited edition Toronto Blue Jays Budweiser cans now available at your local LCBO. And we're so happy to have them on. This is a dream come true.
Yeah, very, very exciting. It's going to be awesome, folks. They're going to be with us for at least the rest of the season. So your boys are going to be having a couple buds as the year goes on. But highly recommend because literally they are connected with the Toronto Blue Jays. Let's transition and talk a little bit about Jeff Passan's recent article, 50 MLB trade deadline candidates, going through them and discussing which ones are the best, which ones are not. Now, he goes through and he ranks them by talent. So Alex Bregman is the number one guy in the way that he was playing baseball, prior to being injured. I think is he back now?
I don't know.
Somebody let me know in the chat if he's back or not. But
team.
I don't check my fantasy team anymore because I'm so far in the tank. But either way, Bregman, he was playing so good, and then he obviously got injured. And he's only saying there's a 10% chance to get traded, so most likely will not get traded, which I do agree with. It would be wild if the Red Sox traded Devers and then traded away what was effectively the catalyst to why they had to trade Devers in the first place, which was signing Alex Bregman. But then he goes on and he talks a lot about some of the pitchers. And you will see a theme here with all of these pitchers. Sandy Alcantara, who's linked, Toronto Blue Jays. Freddy Peralta, who's linked, Toronto Blue Jays. Seth Lugo, who's linked, Toronto Blue Jays. Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly. Toronto's right there at the front. He has the Toronto Blue Jays linked to, or in his terms, the best fits for effectively every single starting pitcher that is on this goddamn list. So it just goes to show that he's of the mindset, as I think a lot of people are, that Toronto will be, one, very active, and two, significantly targeting the starting pitching market.
100%. I mean, for the longest time, we've had three pitchers in a rotation, and now that we're in a competitive playoff spot, and there's someone in the chat that said, where the Blue Jays are getting lucky right now, and you're kind of right. We are getting a little bit lucky that we are in a spot with the, inconsistencies of our roster right now, but that's just,
it's part of the game, man.
Part of the game. Hey, we're getting a little lucky. Let's go make sure we're not getting lucky later on and make sure we're actually playing good by getting some better starting pitchers. Now, there's obviously, we've gone through so many pitchers, and I can't wait to finally get the streams going where we just go through all the guys and just have some wine and maybe some buds.
Hell
Budweiser. Yeah. And we're just talking about which starting pitchers we want to go for, what's the latest rumors and updates. But right now, I figured it'd be a good opportunity to talk about a guy that we haven't really touched on. I don't know if you touched on him, but I certainly haven't talked about him yet. This is another guy that I really like, and Jeff Passan says he's got about a 30% chance of getting traded, which is Tyler Mahle from the Texas Rangers, and best fit, Toronto. And the reason why I like Tyler Mahle is for a couple things. Yeah, he's a righty, it's fine, whatever. Maybe we'll just go this whole season with righties. But look how underrated he is right now. 2.34 ERA with a whip of 1.13. That
77 innings too. That's a decent chunk.
Innings eater, and yeah, he's a rental right now, and he's playing great, but he doesn't have the elite resume to back it up. This is one of his best seasons he's had. This for the Rangers feels like a guy they would shed because we've talked about deGrom and whatnot, but that's like a big shed that would be unexpected. This would be an easy shed for these guys, and again would help us get through it. Now he is on the 15-day IL, so he's got to be able to come back and be healthy. Maybe that lowers his trade value a little bit. Something to think about that we haven't talked about.
Yeah, and I mean, looking back at his career, like he's had some solid seasons in the past where he's been able to hold up. Now I am seeing a little bit of a concern with the injuries and everything like that. Yeah, there's definitely been a few years here where we have not been able to finish. So you're right. Got to see him come back and be healthy, and then got to see that, okay, well, we are still performing at the level that he was performing at. But if all of that checks out, I will take 30-year-old Tyler Mahle any day of the week. 95th percentile on Baseball Savant in terms of pitching run value. So obviously doing a great job over there with Texas. And like this would immediately be somebody that should he be healthy, you can make an argument starts a playoff game for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, exactly right. And right now, like we've been playing around with this thought experiment earlier in the podcast. Who the heck starts? Like you could solve all that when you get a guy like that. If he's continuing at that level until the playoffs, that's solved right there. There's immediately one of your starters, and you go with like whoever is the best guy out of Gausman, Bassett, and Brios in the last like 30 days.
Now, I do see a lot of people in the chat saying Peralta, please, and that is obviously one of the best available targets here. He's or Jeff Passan, has him ranked 4th in terms of his top 50 MLB trade deadline targets. Now, he does say that there's only a 20% chance that he gets traded, and ultimately that just boils down to the fact that Milwaukee is still kind of good at baseball. They're actually really good at baseball.
Yeah, they're 45
I just don't think that he's going to get... Like, I'll be honest. I don't think he's going to get traded. You guys know I love to, pick guys away and be like, oh, he'd be great in a Blue Jays uniform. I just find it so hard to believe that Milwaukee, being in a wildcard spot, would trade Peralta. So we got to hope that Milwaukee falls off the table, because if they do, then he would be awesome.
I hear you. I think the only reason why people are screaming is because it's the Brewers, and I brought this up before, and it's like, they shouldn't trade him. I'm totally with you, but they're the Brewers, and they do this all the freaking time. It's like the Rockies. They'll never trade away their star players at the deadline, even though they've got 2 months left in the contract. # Trevor Story. The Tampa Bay Rays. They'll always be good in baseball. There's just like, there's some things that are certain in life. Death, taxes, and the Brewers trading away great players at the deadline when they're in a playoff spot. It's like that's just something that will happen.
See, I agree with you on the Rays, and I agree with you on the Rockies. I'm not convinced yet that is as certain. But
it always happens, though. Like, think about Josh Hader. Think about Corbin Burns. Like they've traded away guys when they've been in competitive windows, and it's like, why did you do that?
Yeah, but they didn't trade Corbin Burns during the season.
Right before. But why would you trade away your guy that you had? That
like
was
really,
be
the only
Devin
one
Williams.
that's like you can really look at is Josh Hader, because that was mid-season and they were playing well. But everybody else was off-season. This is their ace. Look, I'm all here for it. I want it to happen. I'm just trying to get our expectations, mediate our expectations, and I do think that probably Passan nailed it there. 20% chance, in my opinion, maybe even less than that, to be honest. But yes, he would be awesome on the Toronto Blue Jays.
The 20% is literally, if someone goes to the Brewers, it's like, here's a bunch of prospects that you can't refuse, and they go, okay, yeah, actually that makes sense, and they do it, because that's probably what happened with Hader. I guarantee it's like they didn't look to trade him, but someone came knocking, was like, you want to replenish your farm system? And they're like, okay.
Well, which is another thing to note as well, right? Because then if that's the case, being in a playoff spot as they are, maybe they'd be willing to trade him, but because they're in a playoff spot, you got to imagine that the price is going to be significantly higher. Come to terms with the fact that they're probably going to be asking for Trey Savage in return,
100%.
Which I don't know if necessarily I would want to do for a guy that is on a 1 year, even though he's incredible, being Freddy Peralta.
Now, I know there's a few people in the chat that are saying Sandy Alcantara. So far this year, I'm going to take a look at his game log, see if he's figuring out at all. But, I mean, dude, 6.69 ERA with a whip of almost 1.5, negative WAR of 1. Lately he's been...
It's been better than it was, but, like, not... Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, he's had 2 quality starts in the last... 3 quality starts in the last month. So, we'll see. But maybe you could buy low on him. if that's the case.
Yeah, because like the thing with Sandy is that obviously that this guy could be.
That's what he could be.
The last month he's been great. Yeah. So I mean, if that continues and Toronto believes that like he's all the way back, like I'm actually 100% down, and that could be somebody that you could convince me that we can give up a top prospect for, because when he's at his best, it's like really, really good. And he's under control for a whole nother season.
Yeah.
So that would be really, really nice. I need to see a couple more good starts, and then I'm like, okay, 100%. Like, and then this is literally your game one starter. Like, this would be your game one starter.
Do you think we'd be able to get away with like not giving up either Mahle or Savage for this guy? I mean,
no, I don't. I personally don't think. I think that it would be Savage at minimum.
I mean, even though it's the Miami Marlins and they're dumb.
Well, Miami Marlins is really dumb for sure, but again, like everyone's calling about Sandy Alcantara right now. Like everyone is going to be calling about him. So ultimately, like if everyone's calling about him, the price is going to be higher than we want it to be.
Yeah, and maybe you get in early and you're like, hey guys, before you set it off and listen to anybody else, I got a disgusting deal for you. I've got a guy that you've never heard of. He's on them even on our top 30, but he's doing great at AAA. Let's send him over. We'll see. Yeah, it should be a seller's market. That's 100% certain. There actually is. I'm shocked. There actually is a lot more starting pitchers than I thought there was initially. Like looking at that list, there actually is a shitload more. And like there's no like super all-star like wow, this is like a David Price of the past where it's like, oh my god, you literally got the best pitcher in baseball, and like we got that guy. There's none of that, but there's a lot more depth than I thought. So maybe it shapes out differently. We'll see. And there could be some other guys too. It all depends on the Diamondbacks. It all depends on the Red Sox and of course the Rangers and what they decide to do.
Well, and I see Gretchen5 in here saying deGrom, Jesus Scott deGrom. Obviously, that's not just what happened. But even though some people may hate that opinion or troll about it, I think it makes sense. You go, you tell Texas, we're going to take all this money away from you. You're going to give us your elite Cy Young level pitcher right now. Now we have a game one starter. I'm feeling good about it. You don't have to give too many prospects away because you just took on the money. Give me Jacob deGrom 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, again, we'll have to see. Because again, like,
is it going to happen? No. But I want it to happen.
Yeah, like, it's a fun and cool idea. That's one of those things that, that's one of those things where it's like, oh my God, the Blue Jays just traded for Troy Tulowitzki. What the fuck's going on? And where it's like, you weren't supposed to get traded, and then you got traded. And it's like, that's exactly what it'd be. Like, Pass doesn't even bring it up here in the top 50 because it's like.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's talking about it, but I think that's why if you're the Jays, fucking get in there, boys. All right, let's move on and talk about this upcoming series, guys. Boston Red Sox. We're going to give it to them because they're not playing their best brand of baseball. Devers obviously no longer there, and since then, what did you say? They were what, like 3-6 since Devers left?
3-6 since Devers left, and their offense in the last 15 days, or I guess 12 games, so a little bit of Devers influence here, but still, they have the second worst OPS in all of baseball at 588 with a batting average below the Mendoza line, excuse me. That's been really bad. Their pitching has been good. I think they're top 10 in the last 15 days, which is what has been carrying them in this hot stretch, but the offense no longer good. I mean, maybe Devers has an impact on it, maybe. But we'll see.
Well, of course he's got an impact on it. I mean, like that was their best player. They were idiots, and they traded him away. But this is what you get in response.
But, like, Devers doesn't bring him, like, I mean, maybe Devers brings him up to, like, here. It's like there's still 8 other guys in the lineup. They're all playing bad right now, which is kind of the overall point.
Excellent, because I want to kick their ass, everybody. Toronto Blue Jays, Game 1 tonight. We're going to be live for it. Brayan Bello, 3.31 ERA, 51 Ks, but he's going up against the machine. Folks, La Maquina has been performing really well recently. Like we just said, this Boston lineup, it is no longer the same. They do not have somebody that I am, always going to be scared of in a Rafael Devers. Jarren Duran's not having the season that he wants to have. This is a very, very beatable team.
It is a very beatable team, and I've seen people talk about it online that, hey, I want to go get the sweep. And I looked at all the matchups. I'm like, it is very possible. I am right now in between either getting a sweep or 2-3. which is crazy because we're on the road in Fenway Park, and usually that never happens. But they don't have the Jay Killer and Rafael Devers anymore. He's gone. He's out of town.
No Devers, no Bregman. Durant's playing bad. The rest of the offense is playing like shit. Let's give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, everybody, before we give our official predictions.
Hey guys, time for a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code down below or click the link in the description to join the action. Available in Ontario only. Must be 19 years older to participate. And guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
Shout out to Betway, everybody. Here are the betting lines. Disrespect. Listen, you guys know I'm going to shout out Betway, but what are we doing, boys? Red Sox favorited? Are you kidding me? Toronto Blue Jays underdog? I am smashing that money line right now. There's just no... Look, there's no reality that the 29th ranked offense in all of baseball is going to...
15 days.
Yeah, last 15... whatever. I don't care. They're not doing anything on La Maquina, and the way that the Toronto Blue Jays were playing, just yesterday too, like that offense was coming up clutch. People were doing what they had to do. I'm all in on the Toronto Blue Jays today. The next month's rent's going on Blue Jays money line.
I'm pretty sure that La Maquina played Boston back like in April, and he had like a 7-inning, I think it was shutout, a performance shutout or a 1-earned run. It was something really good like that, and I think he's gonna do it again. I think look. It's going to come down to the Blue Jays. Can you just scrape 3 or 4 runs? If you could scrape 3 or 4 runs, I literally think you've got like an 80% chance of winning this game.
Yeah, 100%.
And they've been one of the better offenses in baseball. They've been cooking. They need Vladdy in the lineup. They do need Vladdy. Everyone likes to say, oh, Vladdy's not $500 million. They still need Vladdy in the lineup. Absolutely. Yeah, Bayo does do very good against the Blue Jays. This is my split game, honestly, but I actually really like the line of just 2 times your money, which is always good. Give me the Blue Jays as well. We're going to win this one.
Give me the Blue Jays by 1 million, man.
We're going to win this one 5-4. That's what I'm thinking. Actually, no. Sorry. 3-2. 3-2, because the Red Sox offense, what we're going to do is we're going to go up early. We're going to get 3 runs. We're going to bring in like Fluharty. There's going to be a little scare. And then we'll close it out with
like I'm looking at these recent Boston Red Sox lineups too, and like they are depressing, man.
Yeah, what does some of their lineups look like?
So yesterday, this is they were up against Kikuchi, who, by the way, guys, you say Kikuchi's actually fucking cooking right now.
I know, he's doing really good.
He's got a 2.79 ERA, 99 strikeouts. Where the hell was that for us,
How many
dude?
innings has he got?
I don't know. I didn't say right there, but like, what?
Yeah, like.
What?
Oh my God.
96.2 innings, 2.9 WAR for Yusei goddamn Kikuchi.
That's
you bastard.
Well, he's getting paid, and he's playing like he's getting paid.
No,
so
I mean, listen,
good.
honestly, I'm joking around. Like, I'm actually really happy for the guy. I just wish that we would have seen that version of Yusei Kikuchi.
Yeah.
Either way, he was up against Rob Refsnyder leading off for Boston, then Jarren Duran, then Romy Gonzalez, Carlos Narvaez at catcher, Abreu, who is having a bit of a breakout year, Trevor Story, Rafaela, Marcelo Mayer, and then Nate Eaton.
What is
and then
this lineup, dude?
That was without Roman Anthony, who will be back in, I assume, today, because he had a day off. He's been in pretty much every other lineup. And Roman Anthony, by the way, top prospect in all of baseball, but he's got a net batting average of 114. So not that worried about him, if I'm being honest. Let's move on to game 2 right now. Chris Bassett up against Lucas Giolito. Giolito had a couple really good years over there for the Chicago White Sox, and then just has not been able to really recapture that. I always remember the year where he kind of saved my fantasy team as the waiver wire pickup that popped off. This is not that season.
Far removed from
Far removed from that year at this current juncture in time. Chris Bassett, on the other hand, as we know, having himself a nice bounce-back season. 3.61 ERA in Fenway Park. Do the wins continue?
I mean, Giolito's been doing pretty good lately. He did face Seattle lineup that's kind of dookie, other than Kyle Raleigh, of course. Tampa Bay Rays, he was able to handle them pretty good. 6 innings scoreless. I mean, they've been one of the best offenses in all of baseball in the last month. So that's a pretty good indicator right there. However, it did get beat up by LA earlier this month. It's going to be a tough one. You know what? I am leaning that we're not going to sweep.
I don't think we're going to sweep either.
And it's going to be one of these games either tonight or tomorrow. I'm going to say we lose this just to balance it all out, because Giolito, I got to give him some credit. He has been good. He's been beat up on good offenses. He beat up on the good offense of the San Francisco Giants that had Rafael Devers in it on June 22nd. Yeah, I'm gonna say we lose this one.
That's fair, man. I think I'm right there with you. It just does come down to the fact that we're on the right. If we were at Rogers Center, I think maybe I'd have more balls to predict the sweep. But being at Fenway Park, Boston, although they are playing like a bad baseball team right now, I still think that they have just enough in there to be able to scrape out a win. And if we don't have our best stuff, like it's very possible that Toronto Blue Jays just won't have their best stuff one day. Like we're good, we're a good team. We are not, Detroit Tigers levels of good, where it's like we're just good every day.
Yeah,
so
like we don't score 6 or 7 runs every game.
Exactly.
Like there will be a couple games.
There's going to be a game in there where maybe it just doesn't come out. So I'll say that this is also that game. Lose game 2 after winning game 1, and then the final game. This is as locked in of a W as you can get. Walker Buehler. Oh my God!
Lauer power, baby.
Dude.
The Lauer power.
Okay, let me explain to you guys how absolutely horrendous Walker Buehler has been. I've been seeing some tweets recently.
Shout out to the sponsor of this video. Hit your picks.
Shut up, Betway.
Shut up, Betway again. Just because you should be betting against the Boston Red Sox here. Okay, listen. This is the last 5 starts. Holy shit! The last 5 starts for Walker Buehler. 10.64 ERA. That is 22 innings, 16 walks in the 22 innings.
Wait, 10 starts?
No, last 5.
Oh, okay, thank God.
Last 5. Last 5 starts for Walker Buehler. I mean, the previous 5 weren't that great either. Slightly better than this. But this is somebody right now that genuinely should not be a major leaguer. He's went 3.1 innings and then 4 innings the last one, both of them giving up at least 5 earned runs. It is so, and listen to these offenses, right? LA Angels, you gave up 5 runs and 4 innings to the LA. You walked 7 people, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Seattle cranked you for 8 earned runs in 3 innings. No, this is a locked-in W, everybody. Toronto Blue Jays might put up double digits in this one. Lauer might get a no-hitter because Boston's just going to give up. We win 2 and lose 1.
This is the one I'd be putting money on absolutely for sure this weekend and feeling comfortable that the Blue Jays are going to win the money line. Like 100%. So the Blue Jays, we're going to say they take 2 of 3. And look, on a road trip, after you got your butts embarrassed by the White Sox at your own home ballpark, you lost 2 out of 3 there. What you needed to do is go on the road and win 4 of 6. And they have a chance to do that. Hell, they have a chance to win 5 of 6 if everything goes right. That's how you erase that White Sox series immediately, right? So let's go get it. All right, guys, we're going to transition a little bit to your questions. If you haven't done so already, please submit your questions, in the mailbag down below. I'm going to pull up some questions here, give it a little refresh. I think we only got 1. Oh my God, there's so many questions. We got 1 right here. I'm going to bring that into the thing in just a moment. Also, somebody said Adam for GM. Shout out to that person.
Wow,
let's get it going.
W's in the chat, man. Things would change, all right?
Things are changing.
Things would change pretty quick.
I mean, I am calling about deGrom. I don't care. Like, I literally don't care. I'll eat all the money. I'll eat all the money, and I'll give you my 15th and 16th.
Listen, I'm ready to spend Daddy Rogers' money all day, every day. Okay,
absolutely.
I'm very happy to get the credit card out and just start tapping that thing away. Quick shout out to John TT or John TR, excuse me, that wrote this question. How does the Miles Straw trade with the international cash pool money hold up now? Do we know how much was sent over for Straw? Good question. I have to look into that. If deal was not done with Kirk at the start of the season, how much would be worth based on the season? Okay, how much would Kirk be worth based on the season so far? Love the show. Listen many times a week from Australia. Shout out to the guy living in Australia, man.
Shout out to the Aussie. So first things first, I'll just kind of correct you on the first thing. We actually didn't send over any money. We got money for Miles Straw. That was the whole thing, right? Because we needed international cash pool money to get Roki Sasaki. So we said, hey, we'll eat the contract of Miles Straw that they didn't want to pay for anymore, and we actually got money. And I believe it was something like 2 to 3 million. It was such a long time ago, and I blacked out from mine. It was enough to make us go, oh shit, we have one of the bigger international bonus pool monies of any team in the league. So that was that's why we were super excited. However, that money hasn't been spent yet. So probably next, international signing bonus pool time, you're going to see us probably spend big there. Yeah.
Also, too, to answer the second part of that question, is Kirk worth, or how much would Kirk be worth? I don't know the exact number, man, because it's, you're talking so many variables, but it would certainly be more than it is right now.
100%.
Because that deal is looking like arguably the steal of the offseason. You could make a strong argument that Cal Raleigh is also looking like a steal for his deal. And he's going insane mode. Now, he was paid roughly double what Kirk was paid, but, Kirk is also playing really good too. So, Kirk, you could make an argument that Kirk's current play isn't that far removed from what Raleigh's current contract is.
Yeah, what is he getting paid right now?
Roughly double, I believe, what Kirk is.
And yeah, I mean, that's still pretty good.
That's exactly.
You got an MVP candidate right there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Like that's a steal for them. And I think that you can make an argument that, Kirk wouldn't be too far removed from what that is right now. I mean, so I don't know what average annual value that would be, but it'd be a lot more.
When I take a look at, the rest of the MLB, Kirk, for me, easily top 3 catcher, Will Smith, Raleigh, and Kirk. And that's literally not biased. You look at any WAR numbers, he's top 3. So for me, with that being said, what has been a top premium catcher getting in the last couple of years? $20 million per year, and he's entering his prime too. We forget he's 26. So you could even argue you give this guy an 8-year contract for $23 million. Like, this guy could literally, if you were to have a good agent and really negotiate with other teams, you could literally see this guy make $140 million. So we're getting an absolute freaking steal, 1,000%. So yeah, that's what I'd be. That's how much he'd be worth if he was to hit the open market and play the way he's playing right now.
Also, Gretchen 5 question: what is Blue Jays today doing to celebrate Pride Month? We're drinking Budweisers, bro. Throwback to that commercial that went viral. But yeah, shout out
Bud Light, you mean?
Was it Bud Light? Oh, it was Bud Light.
Well,
okay.
By those guys.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's right. Fucking drinking Budweiser.
Yeah, that's right. Bro. Get out of here, Bud Light.
All right. Would trading Elvis Martinez and Ricky Tiedemann not get us a good starter, or is that too unrealistic? Would trading them not? Oh no. Okay. Well, look, I don't know how people are going to value Ricky Tiedemann, because you're talking about somebody that could be, I don't know, potentially years removed from pitching again. Or Elvis Martinez, though, I think is genuinely a very shoppable prospect at this point. If the Toronto Blue Jays management fully are buying in and believing in the future of Addison Barger and maybe the future of Ernie Clement and the future of Andres Jimenez and all of those guys, well, where the hell does that leave Elvis Martinez? He's got to go somewhere, and he's getting to that point in time where, all right, let's get some major league at bats underneath you. I mean, I think that's somebody that you honestly dangle in a Sandy trade when you're talking to Miami.
Yeah, Elvis Martinez is my favorite trade piece this coming deadline, because it's it doesn't affect the 26-man roster at all, other than when you trade him, you could affect the 26-man roster to add somebody to that team. Because, look, I'm thinking about ways to put him in. Okay, you got, like you said, those 3 guys in the infield. They're going to be there for a long time unless Ernie gets traded. But they're going to be there for a long time. And then the only other spot is DH. Okay, well, there's Anthony Santander. You're paying him for at least the next 3 seasons. What, are you going to wait another 3 seasons to bring up Martinez? No. His value is going to go down. He's going to get older. You never know what could happen. Sell him now. Sell him now and get what you can for him. That's my opinion. All right, I believe that is all. Oh, there's a question here. Someone, do you think Vlad uses Manscaped?
That's actually a good question. Do you think that Vlad is, trimming?
Everyone trims. If you're not, I don't recommend it.
Right. Yeah. Honestly, I could genuinely see, I think that Vladdy's the type of guy that, not only does he just trim, but, he's using the deodorant down there.
Oh, yeah. Dude, deodorant's, we're not sponsored by them, but, yeah, deodorant's, amazing.
The ball deodorant.
Ball deodorant's amazing.
All that shit.
Dude,
I could totally see,
best.
I could see, on the off days, you're busy, you're on the road, you're doing all this stuff. But on the off days and in the off season, I think that Vladdy, grooms himself.
Sure. He's a groomable man.
You know what I mean? It's I feel like he's that dude that really, really takes pride in his appearance. Anyways, folks, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Please hit that like button, smash the subscribe button. We're gonna be live later this evening watching the Toronto Blue Jays absolutely spank the Boston Red Sox. Should be a good time, everybody. Hit that like, subscribe on the way out. $4 a month coming YouTube members. Shouldn't thank you to all of our current YouTube members. You guys are amazing. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. And as always,
Go Jays, go!